All right, let's finish this book, part 3. Many are cut off as the Kakasu at 6 ether, 245. So now it's known you have 24,000 chromosomes in your DNA, 24 hours in a day. The final day of the third hour of the night. And in the third hour of the night, 22 and 46, the master plan to transport and rescue the root race with Ba souls formulated by Pa Natharu involved 9 higher morphogenetic spheres, Ku, Kuhu, Ku'u, oversouls. The metaphor morphogenetic field of consciousness, the 2 spheres of 8 became the morphogenetic patterns for the Sabatsu Enneads who represented earthly counterparts or the higher groups of 8 Kamanu or Unduads. Tafnuts, Shawal, Natat, Gabab, Asar, Ashtat, Shatak, Nabab, Tat, Atun. I'm gonna let y'all see all that before I go all the way through it. Who came from the higher beings? Nun, Tat, Het, Het, Ke, Kitet, Amun, Tat. The above 248. The above became patterns for the next 5. M Sakatui, Happy, Happy, Damut Afaf, Kabasananu Afaf, who came from the 5th person, Har. These 5 morphogenetic fields became the 5 physical races: Negroids, Dravidians, Mongoloids, Neutronoids, Caucasoids. These are the 5 races. What are you doing, cat? 250. All to evolve from the etheric root race, Nagaro Negroid. The master plan is called for each to evolve and assemble one DNA strand from 123 to 456 to 79. 252. The Negroid etheric race would hold the imprint for strand 789 on the planet Earth, or the physical races and sub-races will follow the etheric leads as their own counterparts of the sub-races. 253. So the Negroid's human body was put in tune with the vibration of the planet on F flat, F major, F or F sharp, or the 3 octaves. 3 times 8 equals 24. So the Negroid 254. So the Negroid body was created with soul or rhythm to be a dual or rhyme. 255. Nagaro or rhythmic by nature. 256. So the planet Earth vibrates on the tone F flat, F major, and F sharp, as does the Negroid's body related to the time as in 24 hours in one day. 257. Or the Earth's 24,000 miles in circumference, or 258, or the 24,000 years of one equinox. 3 times 8, 24. 259. So African's body, which was originally etheric, was immortal and was designed to transmute and ascend, not to die or reincarnate. 260. Originally, there were 24 cycles of transmutation, which later became reincarnation cycles of death and rebirth and of reconstruction. 261. As the consciousness passed from one life to the next, the DNA would assemble the symbol so the Ba soul could learn its way to on the Patah Sadat of evolution to divine being. 262. I'm not going to get finished this book within time. I'm not going to get finished this book within time of this within there. I got 4 more pages. 3 more pages, but front and back. I don't know, man. Cause it's a lot. It's a lot on these pages, bro. It's a lot on these pages. We're gonna have to wrap it up. Call it. Let me do it. I can do it. Try to read it faster. 260. Originally, there were 24 cycles of transmutation, which later became reincarnation, cycles of death and rebirth and resurrection. 261. As the consciousness passed from one life to the next, the DNA assembled so the Ba soul could learn its way on the pt.3 evolution to divine being. In the first innings of the physical creation on Earth, there were 24 beings incarnated, 12 from Sabatat, Sirius females, and 12 from Sarahat, Orion males. They were manifested out of their own races, metamorphic forms. 264. Both gendered races are all female. All females, all males represented an equal standing to populate the planet to progress through their lineage. Being the Sabatu were pure XX and the Saratu were pure XY. The first offsprings came out of YXY. The neutrogenous dual souls of hermaphrodites and hermaphrodites and hermaphrodites. The neuter gender dual souls of hermaphrodites and hermaphrodites, who were the first could not give birth or reproduce. Who at first could not give birth or reproduce. 276, 267. The Sabbats and Sa'u had to mix their own DNA in order to give birth, who became hormone sexuals, which later became homosexuals, and all in betweens, all the in betweens. 268. So the neuter gender races populated the earth for many generations, creating a variety of beings. 269. Yet the first root race, Nagaro Negroids, when birthed, the Dravidians from the black to brown, and these two assembled the second strand of DNA separating genders. Following the Sabatu Sahu females and males are each black and brown before the yellow red races. 271. The four root races is playing long before the Caucasoid race was made. 272. The Dravidians and Indians appeared many millions of years ago out of the Nagaro Negroids, yet with weaker genes, so their hair became fur. 273. They were dark brown, skin copper, bluish, greenish. 274. This race, the East Indians were responsible for assembling the Aran noble DNA strand and created the subconscious mind on dimension two with an emotional being called their way Hinduism. 18,017,250,000 years ago, our divine race evolved together with Sabatu and became Razak Riskian for the Earth Project. We came to Earth together. Those who kept the integrity of the genetic code throughout each race was able to send within each of the races within our immortal bodies as Ethereans through the gateway in the hall of Atumtat's portal. 278. After many millions and thousands of years, after 6,000 years, a hybrid race of lepers with no souls but Ba'u were bred and interbred with hogs, dogs, monkeys, or Homo porcine, Homo sapien, and Homo canine, producing a beast-like people. This is how we mix. This is how it's happening. The Caucasoid race, as a result, lost their ability to transmute genetically and transport their Ka spirits to higher levels. So they became trapped as specters, ghosts, and many forms, depending on how they lived their physical lives. Many lost their ability to transmute genetically and such lost their immortality, Ba'u souls. To complicate things even more, the Great War broke out between the Rabem overlords and the Karabu, cherubim, or Kama'u, Pleiadians, and our Nababu, masters, Seraphim, or Razaku, Riskians. 283. At the time, the cursed lepers dwelled on a land named after the father of Laban, the earthling Adam. The land Baalbak is now called Lebanon, meaning white. Much grafting and crossbreeding was done to protect them when the war broke out. 285. The overlords moved them up to the Wakunya city, the Wakinya Yuka, the Wakinya Yuka city, underground, and it was called Turkey's Kapod. What are these words, bro? I'm gonna just show y'all, bro. Like, what the that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna show y'all. Probably right up here somewhere. Right here. This one and this one. Cappadocia caves to dwell in the caves and the hillsides for 600 years. That's how long the fighting continued, and the city of Lebanon sank underwater. 59,999 of them were moved there, plus Canaan, Lebanon, 60,000 in all. The war lasted for 600 years and stayed in the caves. Then the unclean ones were moved to the mountains called after the Caucasus called after the Caucasus Mountains, and they became Caucasu or Caucasians. These these clean ones were moved to the Aegean Isles on the seventh island and create to separate them by subrace. 289 because of the attacks of these Mesopotamians on the Africans, the halls of Amuntat were closed gates or portals. 290. That's almost over, y'all. Amun will make a way between Pa Patat, the heaven, and Pa Taha, the earth. Pa Taha, the earth, and Razak risk at the east gate. 291. Stay with me, y'all. Because of the contaminated genetic codes caused by the rape of the contaminated contaminated contaminated. Yeah, I think that's genetic codes caused by the rape of the pure race, the root race, throughout the gene mixing with the lepers, Physics and Mongoloids and Caucasoids. The sealed gateway or the Stargate meant humanity had to evolve into a morphogenetic field of their own race and pick up DNA strands by mixing the females of the lower DNA strands to a higher strand. The male of the lower race, fifth, sixth, and can do it, being his Salafu ancestors only records the female mitochondrial DNA, so the females of the fifth, sixth must choose males from the seventh, eighth, or the ninth. So without the imprint frequency pattern of the divine strands, the ninth, the incarnate by soul, 296, and could not plug strands 456 into the operation genetic code of non-neutrinoid DNA, 297. So that as on 9/9/2009 AD, the portal of the halls of Atumtat, called by some Ament to human lineage for 24,000 year cycle of the equinox You have the 26,000 year cycle on the procreational equinox 2009 AD plus 2010 to 2011 on to 2012. 298. Each must complete its own time. So you say from 2009, then start to 2010 to 2011, then start 2012. The devils tried to force the gate open by spitting at Adams in 2008, and in Europe in 2008 AD in Europe and in America, a gateway to hell was opened at much death and destruction to sites of the devil spirit worship. It was closed and moved by removing the metamorphic genetic field on Earth, land, 1 mile each for each year linked to the body of Amun Nabab Re Apata as the Nabat Karad golden child Pa Amun. So now that the genetic block between the physical and etheric beings within the bio and genetic light and sound field, this resulted in a perception of the duality beings being abused or homophobia by the Wiccan religions of Karabu, Cherub. The dual beings dwell on the both consciousness realms at the same time, being linked to both Sabatat Wu Sa'at, Sirius, and Orion at the same time. So only they can find the stargates and open the way before time. You must have 4 of them. Read the gateway and their guardians. He's preferring this to a book. Read the gateway and the guardians. 305. So the religions were created in the Mesopotamia after the Great War. After the Great War and the breeding with the animals, the disease of leprosy, the rapes, and the mixing is all done by the 6 kinsmen or VI kings of the 3 roots of their races: Celtics, and Celtics. Celtics, and Celtics. This is creation of the 4-dimensional frequencies or do, re, mi, fa. It has a block that must be opened by a build up of soul fragments in dimension 79 that will have to integrate into the root race for divine consciousness. It was the 8th to Indo-Aryan with the Caucasians, Aryans who sealed the consciousness and blocked the subconscious with the spell of amnesia on the root race of Africans. The subrace must serve the 6th race Caucasoids to help reinforce the spell of ignorance on the Nagaru. Now, with so much mixing and religion and blind faith, the Nagaru lost their way. 311. Now the Taha Earth is out of sync and using the weather to return to 24. It can no longer sustain life. Taha Earth 312. Taha Earth has now not becoming